Now this was a pretty decent Slender Man movie. What's up, Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I'm your host, as always, riding solo on this video, C-Dubs. And guys, welcome back to the 31-day Halloween horror movie challenge. And we are on movie number 5. That's right, me and the wife last night watched an very interesting take on the Slender Man mythos. One of the originators that started the buzz of the creepypasta himself. The movie is called Always Watching, a Marble Hornets story. This is basically the 2015 American found footage American found footage movie that's based off of the YouTube series, if you will. Directed by James Morrison and starring Alexandra Horton, Chris Marquette, and Jake McDorman and Doug Jones. Very small cast. Basically, if you know the story of Slender Man, he's kind of always found in the background of video footage, camera footage, things of that nature. But generally, when you look out into the world, you don't see him. Now, animals do acknowledge his presence in this film, which is kind of cool. So basically, this movie takes place maybe in the early 2000s, if you will. There's an up-and-coming news reporter and her camera guy who's absolutely in love with her, infatuated, almost he is a creeper, he kind of stalks her. They meet up for the first time in a bathroom at a New Year's Eve party, and they kind of kiss out at New Year's like one's supposed to do, and we're led on to know that there was a little bit more that first night, and from there he's just kind of infatuated with her and follows her. He doesn't really do anything. He's not necessarily a bad guy. He's just a creeper, if you will. Lonely creeper. And they end up, there's a new guy that joins the team, a new reporter, and they're kind of trying to find their way, and they come up with this cool story of there's this company that goes door to door, not door to door, but essentially to home, of people who kind of just skip out on their mortgage, who just up and leave, in some cases may die, and there's stuff in there that needs to be cleaned out and whatnot. And these companies go in and do it. And so they're kind of trying to find out what has happened to some of these families that just up and disappear, is what they're trying to report on. And they come across these found tapes, if you will. And, they don't want to, the two reporters don't really want to do the grimy work, so they kind of initiate the camera guy just to kind of sit through all the videos, watch every single inch of every minute of every video until he kind of figures out, see if there's any connection to what may have happened to this family. And he starts to realize that there's something in the background, and the guy who's recording this for his family, when they went into the home, they just up and left. The homework half done, the lights are still on, water is still running, so the family just up and left. So there's a real mystery behind them. Of course, they interview friends and family, and they're like, it wasn't like them, but he could never put down that camera once he got it. And so, just through the found footage, he starts seeing Slender Man in, just kind of back in the woods, things to that nature. And eventually, as his job as a cameraman, he starts seeing it. So essentially that connection of doing the research for it, now in all of his cameras he sees it. And he does some really cool things as he's being terrorized by Slender Man himself. He starts designing ways to where every angle of his home is covered in a camera. He has a projector as well, projecting live footage, if you will. This way, if Slender Man shows up anywhere, it's caught on camera. And slowly it starts to mess with his mind, just like it does everybody else. And he goes and presents it to his partners, if you will, the two reporters. And it turns out they're kind of getting it on, and they're just thinking that he's jealous, and that's why he's doing this. So finally he shows them, no, look, he shows them the footage. And what I really enjoyed about this movie is it doesn't do it starts off doing that stupid stereotype where you just, no one believes you because it's crazy and you're just jealous, and then On top of it, the new boyfriend, if you will, the new love interest, found some of the video surveillance of him just following her around and catching her on camera. So they kind of start off with, oh man, you're just crazy, you're a creeper, what's wrong with you, you're sick. And I was like, oh, here we go, it's one of these type of stories. And then it quickly switches and they see him, they start seeing Slender Man too, and they start getting possessed by him. And we start kind of figuring out what happened to the previous family as he slowly marked every single member of the family, the daughter, the mom, and the husband. So too starts to happen here with these guys. And what's a really creepy scene is the guy falls asleep. The main camera guy falls asleep on his couch with his dog kind of just growling, realizing something's wrong. And it was actually his dog barking that woke him up. But again, the cameras are everywhere and projecting above him. And in the projector, you see a giant-sized Slender Man just kind of pointing his finger towards where he's sleeping, and it looks like he touches him on the neck in the camera. And when he wakes up, his neck's got this burn mark on it. It's basically like the mark of Slender Man, which was kind of cool. And I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty dope. So they slowly start to figure out what happened to this family. They kind of just went on the run. They found this place, and the guy did the same thing, setting up cameras. And eventually, the husband got really crazy and ended up trying to kill... Well, he did kill his daughter and tried to kill his wife. And eventually, his wife killed the husband and then set the home that they happened to be in at that time on fire. So the two reporters and the camera guy come up with this idea. It's like, maybe that's how you stop it. You either just stop looking at it and forget about them altogether, or maybe it won't stop till we kill each other. And you can see as the movie's going on, it's affecting their emotions. The female reporter, she's falling back into drugs, and one guy's even more on edge. The camera guy's even more on edge than normal, and the other reporter, he's just getting angrier and angrier and almost kills the camera guy with a microwave. Like, he beats him down and then lifts a microwave about to drop him on his head, but thank God the dog interfered. The camera guy's dog interfered. And there's this really sad moment of when the Slender Man unfortunately kills the dog, and he brands the dog in his ear with his mark. And I was just, that part, as a dog owner, and anyone who knows me, man, I love my dog like my son, dude. Like, that's my son. I don't care what anyone says. I don't have a kid, so all the love I would have for a child of mine goes to my dog. And that just tore me up. I was like, oh, that really sucks. Man, I would do my best to try to, I'd figure out what Slender Man was up to. He hurt my damn dog. And, but that's neither here nor there. But just kind of moving on into the story, and you start to kind of find out what happened. The wife survived the burning house, and she's all burnt and deranged, and they go to visit her in a typical sane asylum, but they get nothing out of it. And what I kind of like about this movie is that it starts to kind of go into a stereotypical direction, and then it's like, boop, 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 we're going to pump our brakes, and no, we're not. And this is one of those movies, too, where it's like we don't get what Slender Man is, we don't get why Slender Man is, we just get the how and the when, essentially. That's all we get there. So it leaves it up to a mystery, and it's kind of cool in that regard. And most of the time, movies like that will tick me off. It's like, man, I got more questions than answers. But funny enough, this one didn't do that for me. Now, I wouldn't say it was scary, but it did give you that creep factor of you kind of looking and almost yourself being paranoid, trying to figure out if he's on camera, if he's somewhere in the background, because sometimes he was and sometimes he wasn't. And maybe even in the times where he wasn't, to my eye, you guys are going to find him. It was almost like a Where's Waldo. But it was just like in Hereditary, when something was going on in the background. If you've seen Hereditary, same kind of thing. It's just like, oh shit, there he is, oh God, don't turn around. Or yes, turn around, he's right behind you. He's in the damn mirror. He's in the damn, the window outside. He's just in the distance. Can't you see him? And just like even in the game, I remember playing the game Slender, when the first time you see him off in the distance, up on a mountain, or even when you look through the window and he's kind of just out there, you're just, oh shit, and you kind of want to run away. It kind of gave you that same type of feeling, like not necessarily scared, but you got the willies. And I actually really enjoyed this movie. My dog Mikey had to go to the bathroom in the middle of it. And I was like, "Come on, boy, the movie's almost over. You can hold it, please." And he just kept whining. So eventually, we had to pause it and go take him for a walk. But man, we were quick walking about. Like, do your thing, and get back because we kind of wanted to see what was going to happen. Hopefully, get some answers, which we didn't. But again, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. And I seen some of the Marble Hornets on YouTube, so I thought I was going to be like, oh man, and I've seen a lot of them actually. So I was like, oh man, I've seen this already. And I was like, oh, it turned out there was a lot of things that I didn't see. So it was actually really good. And to be honest, I didn't know that this had become its own movie. So it was kind of cool to me. If you're a fan of those creepypastas, if you're a fan of Slender Man, I know, the with the last movie Slender Man that came out, and there's another one called Tall Man and Pale Man, and they kind of all just kind of pick and choose what they want to do and how they want to present it. And none have really been home runs. Slender the Game, I think, is a pretty good home run. And, to some degree, I can understand if some people are a little played out. Like, if for them, some people, Slender Man is played out. But for me, I actually really enjoy all those creepypastas. It's kind of like new urban legends. Almost like, you originally you had your Universal and Hammer horror movie monsters. Then you had your, like, 80s and 90s classics like your Voorhees and your Michael Myers and your Jasons, and I know Michael Myers is a little earlier before that, like in the 70s, but he kind of transitioned as well, and your Chuckies and your Candymans and things like that, and then you had those horror icons, and these are kind of like the new versions, if you will, granted for a digital age, you digital monsters, if you will. So I think Slender Man sometimes gets a little bit of beef when there shouldn't be one, but I think it's really cool that that we've gotten together and created all these new digital age monster classics, if you will, horror icons, and Slenderman is definitely in, I would say, the top three when we're talking digital horror icons. Maybe even the biggest one in some people's eyes. To me, he probably is, and I'm a huge fan, and I'm still waiting for that one genuinely scary original movie, if you will, and maybe someday we'll get it. It might take some time, especially since the last movie bombed and there didn't seem to be too much interest, and that's because the trailers really did suck, I think. Haven't seen that movie yet, actually, funny enough, because of how bad the trailers were. I was a little afraid. I didn't want to waste my money. We were getting ready to go on vacation as well, so I was like picking and choosing what I wasted my money on. But we'll probably maybe get around to that and review it here for this challenge. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, Universe, guys, thank you again for participating in this challenge and checking out our reviews. Guys, definitely don't forget to let us know on the bottom what movies you want us to review. There's 3 of us, and only me and DPZ have done views so far, but each day we're planning on doing one, so definitely let us know. Also, guys, if you've already already seen a few of these movies, let us know in the comments below what you guys thought, if we should check them out, guys. Till next time, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on the video, guys, and I'm C-Dubs, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.